Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. I am Reena Prakash Tyagi, and it's my privilege to be your host today, this evening, on behalf of our ever evolving Zana family. We have gathered here at a time when the world appears divided by borders, yet deeply united by consequences, because no conflict today remains isolated. This evening, the heart to heart with heart to heart, we step into a conversation that goes beyond headlines, untouched yet affected. A conversation that compels us to ask, are we truly observers of global events or silent participants in a rapidly changing world? Untouched yet effective. Good evening once again. We often believe that wars happen somewhere far away, on borders we've never seen, between people who'll never meet. But here's the truth: distance does not impact, connection does. Because in today's world, no one is truly untouched. Let me welcome all of you to our today's topic, Untouched Yet Affected. A conversation not just about war, but about how deeply it shapes our everyday lives. In a world flooded with information, true journalism is not the noise. It is the voice that brings meaning, the courage that questions, and the wisdom that endures. And today, we are honored to be in the presence of someone who has lived this truth for over 3 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to introduce our distinguished voice from the world of financial journalism, Mr. Shrikant Modak. Welcome, sir. And I would like to give a brief introduction about you because we need to move further. Mr. Modak is a veteran journalist with over 30 years of experience, having held senior editorial positions at various and not various, in fact, some of India's most respectable financial newspapers and magazines. His work spans a wide canvas, offering deep and insightful perspectives on international affairs, finances, and economics, areas where clarity is rare yet essential. Mr. Modak is beyond, like, if we say his vision is beyond the sharp intellect and it lies in a man's deeply rooted in culture. And Mr. Modak is someone who is genuinely deeply rooted in our culture. He is an admirer of Hindustani classical music, especially the 400-year-old Agra Gaiki, sorry, not Gharana, Agra Gaiki tradition, and appreciates legendary voices like Hemant Kumar, Mohammad Rafi, and Manna Dey. And in his younger days, he also represented Gujarat schools in cricket, opening in the prestigious Kuch Bihar Trophy against a Bombay side that featured Sunil Gavaskar. A rare blend of intellect, culture, and experience. Let's welcome Mr. Shrikant Modak. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Rina. I feel flattered with your description of me, actually. So,
Sir, yeah. So please tell us some of your experiences so that we can take the talks further.
well, uh, I have fairly wide experience. I'm now 78, so you can imagine. I have traveled quite a lot, both in India as well as outside. I've traveled to Europe, Americas. I've been to Russia. I've been to Orient also, China, Korea. Then, of course, Australia, uh, Malaysia, Singapore. My work took me to different places, but I was in England basically for further studies, and I also worked there. From 1973 onwards until 1979, I was in England.
Oh,
And
the year I was born.
after completing my master's, I worked with the Ministry of Industries as an economist, and then finally came back in towards the end of 79. My initial career after I came back was in academics in some of the leading Indian uh, academic institutions like IRMA, then Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research, which was set up by Reserve Bank of India as a think tank. And I was also with the Bombay University Management School, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. And in 1989, I switched over to altogether different uh, career, that is journalism. I started as a assistant editor with the Economic Times,
That's
and then I
amazing.
retired in
That's really amazing.
2007. I have consulted with the basically in the area of energy, especially power sector, with the State Electricity Regulatory Commission and also Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. And I have written 5 books.
Wow. That's really
Already.
amazing. So I would definitely love to read one of your books. In fact, if I get a chance, I would definitely read all of your books. So we all know that we don't have to be in the fire to feel the heat.
Sorry?
Some we very well know that we don't have to be in the fire to feel the heat. Some
Okay.
realities remain untouched, but no one remains unaffected because the current geopolitical condition. I think these lines fit on it completely. Like, what in your view do you what in your view would you describe untouched yet effective affected in today's world?
Well, I mean, a lot of things are happening in the world. So, and this is a very different world from during my youthful years. The world is interconnected in so many ways. You see, there was a time when even to get a telephone connection was very difficult, actually. Today, everybody carries a smartphone. In fact, Nokia came out with a handheld set, and which is now nobody knows actually. The present generation would not even know. 1990, I had bought my first, handset actually. There was pages, and then of course came the smartphone, and smartphone has made it s- so many things possible. You see, and of course the development of internet also uh, expanded it during the 90s, especially late 90s and then 2000 onwards. So we are, I mean, we are not, we are at distance, but at the same time, we are very close, actually. You see.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
you
sir.
see, the development, the technological developments have bridged the distance. And it has also expanded knowledge because information, particularly, uh, because there are so many, apart from the regular TV channels, there are so many uh, online channels, on the YouTube, and so that has, and it's which is a good thing. at the same time, one should know, uh, because there is also a chance of misinformation actually. Today,
Yes,
uh, media to an extent, not only in India but all over the world, has lost independence to a substantial extent actually. And even the best of media like BBC and uh, CNN, uh, or CNBC and NBC and in US. Uh, so they they have uh, they have changed a lot. They have changed. They from 1980s onwards, they started losing significant amount of independence which they exercised during the 1970s. And especially after the Iraq war in 2000, I think it was 2003, if I remember correctly. Uh, BBC came under tremendous pressure, and so did CNN. Uh, and in India also, the TV media, the mainstream media, what I call, there have been growing pressure from the governments. So to get accurate news, one has to know and find out, and that is a task by itself. For especially for people who may not, who are not
exactly.
professionally uh,
Inclined towards it.
linked
Linked to linked to
with the
the
media
media.
actually.
Right. So, as you know, the current condition, it's like very dicey. Nobody knows what's going to happen. According to you, I'm like, no offenses for anybody, but yes, what would be your personal view on, are we genuinely distant from global conflicts, or just we are physically removed from it?
We are physically not in the middle of the the at the moment we have a hot conflict going on in two
Yes, sir.
places actually. See. So we are not in the middle of the war, and yet it affects us because of various reasons actually. See,
Yes,
because we are interconnected world, where there is a lot of interdependence uh, for even our material needs actually. See,
exactly. Like
so
LPG problem is going on,
yeah,
and then
LPG,
petroleum is going on.
right? So that's one thing. And then there is also, I'll just give you a quote from one of the Italian uh, uh, philosophers. His name was Antonio Gramsci. And that really sums up what is really happening, you see. You know, and he was uh, in 19 uh, late 20s actually, mid 20s or rather. He was imprisoned by Mussolini, and then he wrote a lot of things in which have come to be known as prison notes.
Right.
And in that one particular observation of that time which he gave also describes what is happening today actually. See. You see, that quote is the old world is dying. The old world is dying and the new world is struggling to be born. Now is the time of monsters. You see, this really, what is going on, the kind of things which are happening actually. You see, the level of deception
Yes, sir.
and level of the complete breakdown in international diplomacy actually, you see. In fact, what is happening is we are in the process of a very huge change. epochal change where the power center is shifting towards the east and south, particularly towards Asia, actually. So
Yes, so
five, and that is happening after 500 years, actually. See. So that colonial world, which was enacted by the Western, uh, you know, uh,
impact.
yeah, Western. So that European and also the American, and so they had they had a kind of hegemony over the world, which is breaking down now.
Right.
And we can see that both in Ukraine as well as in what is happening in Iran today.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so the world we are living in today, as you've quoted earlier, it's changing drastically. So now, to understand what basically is going on, and what are the base, we can say that what are the major geopolitical conflicts currently shaping global dynamics?
Well, until now, it seemed that Ukraine was, especially the uh, Ukraine war, Ukraine-Russia war actually, was shaping. But now with the Iran war, it has appended because Ukraine war is now nearing the end actually. See, with the Russia almost having captured the Russian-speaking territories. Lugansk is now almost 100%, in fact, 100% already with the Russians. And in case of Donbass, uh, there are about three or four major cities which it needs to take. And that its first aim of capturing the whole of Donbass and Lugansk, that objective will be achieved.
Achieved.
Now,
Right.
to what extent it will go further, because there is a geopolitical issue involved, actually. See, because if Russia has to protect itself, then it must make sure that entry points to Black Sea, particularly from the Ukraine side, you know, must be eliminated.
Right.
And for that, it will have to take Odessa and it will want to ring fence the Russia. I mean, the after capturing Donbass, it will have to ring fence by creating a, sort of a neutral zone,
Right. Right.
so that uh, and then it will have to make sure that neutralize. It will also have to neutralize geopolitically. It will have to neutralize Ukraine.
Right. So, sir, are these conflicts that is going around across the globe, right? Uh, are these conflicts driven more by ideology, resources, or power?
You see, ideology is basically uh, uh, stems from the economic interest, actually. See, now, uh, so basically, it's the economic, the power politics, the global, any power politics is about economic power, actually. See. And
So,
especially especially the global geopolitics is uh, about dominating the world, not for the sake of It's not like in case of monarchies, it serves a particular purpose because it gives you access to the resources.
Yeah, so it's basically a mix and
And
match of resources and power.
because you see, it gives what was colonization for actually?
Hmm.
Because Europe did not have any, I mean, did not have the resources it needed. In fact, it did not even, it could not even trade with the Asia and Orient because it did not have anything to sell, and that is why. But it had the gunpowder actually. See,
Right.
the
So
gunpowder.
we can, so with gunpowder, we can say that the nature of warfare has evolved beyond traditional battlefields.
Yes, because the Second World War was fought with 303 rifles, which probably most of the people who were born after uh, 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 you know, uh, 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 af- after 1970s will not even know actually. Because during our time, NCC, that is National Cadet Corps, was
Yes.
compulsory. Everybody had to, and we were given training in how to use rifles, and those were 303 rifles actually. Those were Second World War rifles actually. Now the rifle technology, of course, has undergone tremendous change actually. But more than that, there are so many. The missile technology is there, and now and that missile technology from I mean simply firing a missile uh, of certain speed. It first became supersonic, and now
Yes.
what we have is a hypersonic. That is 5 Mach and above. 5 Mach means 5 times the speed of the sound.
Yes.
So these technologies are now, for example, uh, Iran has hypersonic missiles, and that is the major. Then you have uh, intercontinental ballistic missiles, which can reach from one end of the earth to the another within 40 to 45 minutes. Hello?
I'm there, sir.
Yeah.
This way.
So it can reach from one end of the world to
It's
another
okay.
in 40 to 45 minutes. And they are indefensible, actually. There are no defenses. So a lot of things are happening. And now with the invention of artificial intelligence, the things one doesn't know what kind of shape the battlefields will take place. I mean,
I think the Chinese philosopher Sun Tzu, his quotation that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting, it's going to come true.
that's right. Because if the war is being fought with robots, machines, independent, which can think independently, actually. See.
And I
So
think, sir, over here, like you said, it's been fought by robots, and it's not being fought independent. Like the drones are there, there are robots, there are missiles. So, don't we think
robots
that
have not come, but with artificial intelligence,
they will definitely come in?
yeah, you know that film of Avatar.
Yeah,
Avatar, there was a machine actually, which was, uh, so that kind of uh, warfare looks quite possible with the invention of AI. And the most troubling thing about the AI is that if its development goes towards that side, then it could
it
be
will
the
be
threat.
drastic.
It could be threat to the mankind
Human
itself,
race.
actually, see.
Definitely, sir.
Because there are thinking, there are yeah, and there are self-thinking the machines actually. See, artificial intelligence has different kind,
Yes, sir.
but uh, there are generative ones actually which can think by itself and communicate with each other,
Yes. So,
and
with this,
much greater speed than what
what
a human being can.
normal, with this, we can say that we are now going to witness wars that are being fought through economic pressure, cyber influence, and strategic narratives.
No, basically, cyber and all that is these are the platforms. Okay. Earlier, there were three main platforms: land, sea,
Yeah.
uh, uh, and air. Okay. Now we have gone beyond that. Intercontinental missiles are basically space. They go out into the outer space and then they come back. Then the cyber, and there are also uh, uh, you know, uh, cyber is basically the interface between your computer and your you know, like you can with the cyber you can mislead missiles and those kind of things actually, see. But then
This,
there is one further step. There is one in between, which is based on electromagnetic waves, and that is again, a new field. So there are about seven field platforms on which the wars are today being fought. And the most amazing thing is of the war today is drone. It's very cheap, and you can fire thousands of them actually. See.
that's
And
what we've been
and
seeing.
and you can mislead your defense system will be misled, and so it can be exhausted before you start firing your much more potent weapons. So this is the state of the war theater.
So we can say that one may not hear the gunfire.
Sorry, I'm voice is
We can say that one may not feel the gunfire, one may not hear the gunfire, but will feel the echo. The echo will be in the markets, the minds, and the fragile balance of peace.
uh, well, gunfire will still be there because when you fire a missile, it makes a lot of noise actually. It goes at such a high speed, and when it strikes something, uh,
Like we over here sitting in India, we are
uh,
not hearing the gunfire,
no, we don't
right?
hear the
But
gunfire.
yeah, because but we are our markets are being hit by that, and that's the echo
Well,
of the missile.
that is because you see, geostrategic is about you know it's basically geography. Okay, so geography acquires a very important uh, strategic position. Actually, this particular concept was invented by a British. At the beginning of the last century, there was a British uh, 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 geologist, uh, geographer, in fact. And he was also a war strategist called Mackinder. And then the war in Ukraine is based again on geostrategic importance of Eurasia, actually. See. For the West to establish complete dominance on uh, the, there was a professor called Brzezinski, who was also a national security advisor during the President Carter's time. He was a Harvard professor of geopolitics, and he wrote a book called uh, Global Chessboard, uh, in which he underscored the necessity of controlling Eurasia. The, the country which controls Eurasia will dominate the world, actually. So
Right.
the whole idea of starting we may feel that the war is between Russia and Ukraine, but actually it is a war which is between the two superpowers.
So in a way, we can say that the wars that are going on globally, right? They can impact countries that are not directly involved, and that is how our country is also being impacted.
Uh, More than the Eurasian war at the present, that is Russia-Ukraine. Russia-Ukraine war,
It's not impacting us though.
it may not impact, it did actually impact because uh, mm, uh, but it worked to our advantage also because you see, the world is so interconnected, and the whole control of the banking and finance was in the hands of the Americans, actually. So the moment they removed Russia from the SWIFT, that means it was as good as removing it from the international finance system. And and that affected the dealings of the countries with Russia. For example, people like us. Uh, but that also created opportunities in a way that it led to Russia and China and BRICS basically coming out with alternatives such as payment in your own currencies and things like that actually.
Right. So when we are talking about finances, financial liberty, and financial independence, so can the right, let's talk something off the topic, that is, can the rising fuel prices, inflation, supply chain, because you being from the financial background, can rising fuel prices, inflation, supply chain disruptions be tracked back to global conflicts?
Yeah, especially the Iranian conflict has affected, you know, mm, mm, affected the uh, petroleum sector, oil, crude oil, and the crude oil is something which you extract, but then it's not only energy, but there are so many things for which
Yes.
like fertilizers, then plastics, and there are so many applications of petroleum. There are petroleum products actually which are they have a very wide. Then helium is affected actually. We see helium shortage. There is a helium shortage, and that will affect the computer industry because it is required for chip printing the uh, the chips
For
with
manufacturing
buckets,
the chips and all.
manufacturing, and also uh, you know um, the chips have to be made into transistors, okay? And this helium is very important, especially for on the high tech side, actually.
Okay.
Uh, it's used for printing the circuits and things like that, actually. See.
Right, right, right. So, there is a quotation which says, when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. And often, we are the grass. So, can a common citizen very truly remain untouched by global conflicts?
Well, our life is affected. For example, the LPG uh, prices have gone up so high that in last few days you see the migrant workers, for example, in Surat, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
last just 2 days back
so
we
there is
saw it
it was like a COVID kind of situation, all of them, because they could not afford,
running back home.
because they could not afford
Gee.
the price of gas. It was so high in relation to what. So they were all running, they all wanted to go back.
In a way, we can say that the distant wars, they have shaped our daily lives, our expenses, our opportunities, our future, everything.
Not yet, actually. We have not felt a full, blast of it. You don't know what is going to come.
Yes. So, what impact does constant exposure to war news have on our society's mental well being?
Sorry?
Because what impact does constant exposure to war news have an impact on the society's mental well-being? Because there is so much of news going on. Kuwait is being bombarded, Dubai is being bombarded, Abu Dhabi is being bombarded, and people like if they have their relatives there, right, they get worried, they start calling, and in some of the countries even WhatsApp calls are not allowed, right? They either go through bottom or they call the direct line or whatever. So how is it that the impact can be minimalized, and how is it that the exposure to the war news is minimalized, and there the families and the relatives who are staying miles away, they don't get affected?
Well, I don't know, but you see, as far as India is concerned, we had a substantial number of migrant workers, actually, see, immigrants, actually, uh, were employed, Indian, Indian were were employed in the Middle East. Now that's a war zone, actually, and it's a fierce war because what Iran has done is it has attacked all these countries, actually, because American bases were there, and since its war is with America, it had to neutralize the bases. Now this is the war part of it, but its impact in a war zone, there won't be any flights. Okay. So, and it impacts also the production and everything, the whole economic system comes to a halt. So in this part of the world, the economic system has come to a complete halt. Uh, and for example, Dubai and these places were had built up substantial amount of tourism completely. Now, all the tourists, that part is gone. Secondly, their exports have come to a halt. And now the people, because it doesn't earn revenue and it cannot produce anything, the migrant Indian workers who were working there, they have no jobs and they have to come back. And if they come back, it will also affect because they used to repatriate a lot of their wages, which so our balance of payment from that end, would be affected. Now, when they come back, they would have to be absorbed in jobs here. But if the war goes on for a longer period, then there would be a recession, global recession, actually. So our
So we
exports will
can,
be affected,
right, right. So
and
we can,
the price rise will be there. So that will affect the consumption uh,
right.
side of the economy. And if the consumption falls, then the demand falls, then the industry will be affected because industry will not be operating at full capacity. And if industry cannot operate at full capacity and it is building up inventories, then there will not be any investment, you know. So our
Exactly.
future growth will also be affected. Actually. For example, Moody's, they are a credit rating agency. They have downgraded India's growth, which until now everyone was projecting at 6.8%. But Moody's just, I think, yesterday they downgraded it to below 6%. And one doesn't know. And this is still, this is still the initial stage, actually. So how it will affect India, one doesn't know.
So we can say that the first casualty any country faces during war is the truth along with the impact on GDP.
Yeah, truth, because you don't get a real picture of the what is going on. For example, there's a complete blackout in Israel.
Hmm.
Okay, so and in fact they have made it a crime if even to uh, take pictures and circulate this on social media actually. So
So we can,
that part is completely blocked out. Then there is a lot of misinformation, which is coming from the US side. And also Iran also, I mean, there is a curb on information. But more so, you see, because the Western media dominates the world of information. And if
so we can say that in a way, the individual for the individuals, it's very difficult to distinguish between propaganda and reality.
That's right, huh? But you see, fortunately, there are also many sane voices in the Western independent. There are many independent journalists actually, okay, who have their own. So if you know that, if you know who is who, then you can get an accurate information. But for that, you need to know who. I mean, which. Channels, YouTube channels you should watch, and those that
So
becomes very important because mainstream media is not going to give you the true picture,
so we can say that
and
in a
and
way.
and all the information is controlled by mainstream media, including the wire services like Reuters. These are all so they will always give a picture which their government wants actually.
So we
But
can
I
say
can
that in a
I can
way.
tell you one thing. Although there is a blackout in Israel of all media, there is one. one newspaper,
Harrods.
Haaretz, has been able to maintain its independence and defy the government actually. So from that you can get uh, some information actually, because
Right.
in many places they are prevented from going actually.
Right. So we can say that in a way, the public perception is being controlled as a strategic objective in modern conflicts.
Yeah, political also, because you see there's a tremendous uh, uh, public opposition to war in US. Okay. Uh, well, a lot of people in US are saying that why are we fighting Israel's war? Okay.
Very true. Very
So,
true.
so there's a lot of, uh, but we don't get to see on the mainstream media this opposition. Not
Right.
fully. To some
Right.
extent, yes, but not fully.
So, so,
For
sir, coming
example,
closer.
the popularity of President Trump has fallen to all-time low, actually.
Exactly. So
It's below
coming,
20.
sir, so coming closer to home, we can say that India in the divided world is not choosing sides. It's choosing the moments.
Is choosing the
Moments,
movements.
not movement. Moment.
Moment,
Shan.
huh?
Yeah. So, sir, where does India stand in the current geopolitical landscape?
India at present, uh, I think one blunder which India made was just 2 days before the war began. A prime minister was in Israel, actually. You see, that was a blunder which uh, our external affairs ministry has be, has been trying to diffuse trying to
Commotion.
control the impact of it actually. And I can tell
Right.
you one thing, thanks to them, that today Iran has not stopped our
Any of our tankers
exporting
or,
to what.
yeah. Right. So, sir, is it possible that India can maintain neutrality, or is neutrality itself a strategic position?
You see, we are this today, the world, as I told you, there is a huge structural shift taking place. Okay. Now that neutrality and all that was all right in the 50s, immediately after the Second World War. There were two ideological camps. Today there are no ideological. Most of them have the same kind of economic system,
Right.
all capitalist system basically, actually. So there is no ideological, uh, whereas in that time, after immediately after there was Soviet Union was there actually, and then the Chinese, revolution took place, and then there was communism there actually. So during that time, mm, uh, that ideological thing was there actually, but today that is not there.
Hmm. So, we can say that in a divided world, balance is power.
So now it's basically the camps, the Western camp and the BRICS that defines the Southern, or you can call it Eastern, Southeastern, basically Asian and African actually, you see, and Latin America and that side actually, which are comparatively less developed countries actually, but they are the countries which have lot of wealth actually. Okay, resources, and they also have developed manufacturing. The Western economies are now more or less financial, completely financialized. A lot of manufacturing has moved out from there into different parts of the what we say south or east actually. You see, so because all the resources are here, and they also get cheap labor, so it makes more sense to manufacture here than to transport the raw materials and then manufacture things over there, where the wage rates and are very high actually. So that whole world has become completely financialized because of that past accumulated capital, you know. So now the capital moves, but the manufacturing, and with that the manufacturing moves where it can get the maximum uh, uh, return actually, you see.
Right,
And
right.
that is in Asia, basically South, what we call South actually, you see.
So, with over 30 years, 30, we can say over 3 decades being in the journalism arena, right? According to your opinion, is India emerging as a stabilized force in global affairs?
India at this moment does not have any significant role to play actually,
Right,
because that kind of, I told you, that kind of neutral, we will have to take sides because it's a structural shift which is taking place actually. And there is no ideological conflict. The conflict is mainly for mm, domination of the kind of control which the West had on rest of the world. That is shifting, and alternate, uh, alternate uh, avenues are becoming available to the South, through BRICS and this kind of organizations. Actually, there could be more organizations. For example, Africa could have its own equivalent of BRICS, actually, you see. Or BRICS could be an umbrella organization where, because these are the countries which have resources, actually. See, they control the resources. But now, dollar has value only so long as it is linked with something tangible. Now the whole manufacturing and everything has shifted. Then becomes a piece of paper, actually. See,
right.
earlier it was linked with gold, but it was delinked. It might have to
Mhm.
relink if it wants to. Uh, then Iraq is allowing the Iran is allowing the ships which to pass through the Hormuz. Only those ships which have made payment in Chinese yuan. They are not
Okay,
accepting anything. I mean, they are not allowing the ships which have dollar payments, actually, you see.
right. Sir, with your age and your experience, is the Third World War destined, or can it still be prevented?
It all depends, actually, you see, because there was a philosopher called Thucydides, and he was also a general in the Athenian Greek army, actually. And there was a Polynesian War which lasted for something like 20 years. So he said that incumbent power, when it is challenged by So by the rising power, actually, you see. So that conflict leads to a lot of things. And so in that kind of situation, in the modern context, if you blow it up, then and when it is not, then it becomes important to understand that which way the wind is blowing and align with that actually. Because if you one doesn't want to end up on the losing side.
Right, right, right. So, seeing the current scenario that is going on, are we already witnessing the early stages of new kind of world war that is economic, cyber, and ideological?
I told you no ideological. There is nothing ideological. Ideology is finished. There's no communism.
Okay.
Okay, it's purely resource-based economic dominance. War to retain. One side is trying to retain. Other side is trying to get out of that cycle of dependence and acquire economic independence. A lot of you see during the after the Second World War, a lot of countries acquired political independence, but the dependence remained
Hmm.
on the West. But today what is happening is many of them are becoming independent. Actually, you see. F- For example, I'll give you a very simple example. Even in place like Africa, in Sahel region, Faso
Burkina Faso. Okay.
and Niger, okay. So they asked, there was a complete dominance of French over there. So they have they have removed the French from there, and they have taken control of their economy. Whereas France, 30% of electricity of France, for 30% of the electricity, France was dependent uh, on the uranium which used to which it extracted from Sahel region, actually, you see. Now that whole, and that is why the electricity was very cheap also, actually. Just excuse me for a minute, actually. Okay.
Yes,
Just,
yes. So we have been discussing about what has been going on, what is going to happen, and still the whole world is at a standstill where nobody knows what is going to happen. Neither do we know what is going to happen financially, neither do we know what is going to happen with our strategic movements, what is going to be our ideology for in future, and neither does anybody know what is going to be a potential World War III look alike. Like, we are an interconnected world, and once we are interconnected, we don't know what might happen when, because being an interconnected world, the third world war might not happen, or it might happen, nobody knows. So I'm still waiting for Mr. Shrikant Modak to be back, and we'll continue our conversation further. But yes, World War III may not begin with a
yeah,
bang.
sorry.
No, it's okay, sir. So please come to the center.
Yeah.
Yeah. World War, sir, according to you, with so much of knowledge and in depth knowledge about the geopolitical scenario, what might a potential World War III look like in today's interconnected world?
You see, as I told you, incumbent power, I give you the example of Thucydides. So incumbent power is basically US, okay, and it had allies. Western allies, basically Europe. See. Now Europe has broken up. Europe and you will see the end of NATO actually. See. And Europe doesn't want to join the war in Middle East,
So,
because
in
it's
fact, nobody wants to join the war anywhere.
anywhere actually.
Everybody is trying to avoid the World War Three.
But the kind of hegemony which Americans had over the world, now that is an incumbent power. It's very difficult to lose it. So if it and which looks very likely actually that conventional war it will lose because
So,
it's
so we
military industrial military hardware. It has been upended both by Russia, China, even I would say Iran, actually, missile technology and all that. Actually, Iran is far. And one reason why, when actually war started, the expectation in Iran was when the war started in Iran, the expectation of the American was that they would finish it off in 2 days, you see. But today the situation is that they come begging for a ceasefire.
so we can say that in a way, World War Three may not begin with a bang,
No,
but it might begin with a breakdown.
you see that is where I mean, then the scenario becomes unimaginable, because you see US still has nuclear power. It's still a nuclear power actually. You see, it has nuclear warheads less than Russia, but they're there actually. See. And they have they have in the last 20 years they have been conducting many war exercises, uh, tactical nuclear, you know, uh, they have so tactical nuclear uh, weapons may not affect, may not can destroy a city, but not the whole country, or
Right,
But
right,
once it starts between the leading powers, then where is it going to stop? Because they also have megaton. These are, tactical nuclear warheads are comparatively the capacity for damage is comparatively less. But megaton means the whole world. Then
exactly.
this planet may not even have. If it goes to that, then that would spell the end of the end of the intelligent life on this planet. Actually, there is
True.
there is they something they have what they call a nuclear clock, and with that and we are now within the few seconds of midnight. Actually, see.
Right, right,
So it will require a lot of statesmanship. If you see, the reason why Russia is not going all out is because it is trying to control.
right.
It is trying to control, actually, you see. Same applies to uh, uh, to Iran in Middle East. It is not as it is it is not going all out.
Right.
It is escalating as the US and Israel escalate, then in response, it also escalates actually and
So
brings
if
its
by
more powerful weapons actually. See.
right, so if by any chance we are all affected,
Hmm.
do we all share a responsibility for that?
Well, the responsibility is mainly with the big powers, particularly the Western. They must learn to live and share this world uh,
So what
rather
role
than try to dominate and extract.
right? So what role can individuals and societies play in promoting peace?
In all countries, sane voices must
Right.
make their voice felt. And in US, uh, it is happening actually. See, although we don't see the pictures, there is a tremendous resistance actually, even in the like it was like Vietnam War at campuses, university campuses, and various places, all intellectual levels actually. See, some of the best intellectuals today are in US and also in Europe actually. They are speaking out through alternate channels in various ways actually. See.
Right.
So this has to be opposed all over the world, actually, to prevent the war from getting out of hand. The best today, you see, on one side, the uh, technology is advanced so much that there is a scope for cooperation. There is a tremendous scope for cooperation, actually, see, and increasing for everyone to improve their. And doesn't have to be zero-sum game, actually, see. That I take all and you.
You take nothing.
Uh,
Right, right, sir.
so that
Thank
kind
you
of
so. Yes,
thing.
sir. Please
Hmm.
continue.
Yeah, so that kind of, they will have to get out of that colonial mentality which they have,
Right,
yeah, which they have held for last 400 to 500 years. They will have to get out of that kind of mindset.
right, sir. Sir, thank you so much for giving your precious time. Though we've extended the time, but it was a very insightful discussion, and I hope everybody loves it. Before we conclude, I would just say a few more lines because I love talking in quotes and words. Albert Einstein once said, "The world is not destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch and do nothing."
That's true.
So perhaps the real question is not, it is whether war exists, but whether we still have the courage to question it is a big question.
That's true, right?
Thank you so much
Yeah,
and
thank you
see
so
you
much.
in
Yeah.
some other episode.
Yeah.
Thank you. Namaste.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.